Imagine two microscopic particles separated by entire galaxies. Even at that distance, if one particle changes, the other reacts instantly. This concept terrified the greatest minds in modern physics.
I want to give a shout out to Alex Ferrari, Ferrari, and he has the podcast called Next Level Soul. And I've become a regular listener, and I want to tie it in to my own work on quantum storytelling and in the new book on relating ESP to what's called non-local entanglement. So I'll explain all that stuff, but basically it means that what Einstein was calling spooky stuff at a distance, where two particles as far away as you can make them from each other respond faster than the speed of light.
Classical physics relies on a strict set of rules, and the foundational rule is that absolutely nothing can travel faster than the speed of light. When Albert Einstein encountered this phenomenon, he dismissed it. He famously called it spooky action at a distance, assuming there had to be missing, unmeasured variables that scientists just hadn't found yet. Decades later, a physicist named Stuart Jonathan Bell formulated a mathematical theory and a physical experiment to test this supposedly impossible connection. If the foundational building blocks of the entire universe can bypass the strict laws of space and time, our entire understanding of reality is flawed.
Instantaneously. So that's impossible according to the classical laws of physics. So what Einstein and his partners said, well, there must be some unmeasured variables here that are not taken into account because you can't violate the speed of light. Now it turns out later, after the 1935, I think, pronouncements by Einstein and his colleagues, that Stuart Jonathan Bell came up with a theory and an experiment to test this.
Bell's theorem successfully proved the existence of quantum non-local entanglement. It was a breakthrough of such magnitude that it eventually earned a Nobel Prize. Independent third-party experiments repeatedly verified his theory. They showed that this instantaneous connection is a measurable physical reality, completely defying classical limits. Physical distance is completely irrelevant. Whether they are inches apart or on opposite sides of the universe, entangled particles behave as one entity. If the universe is instantaneously connected at the microscopic level, human beings who are made of those exact same particles might be experiencing this connection without realizing it.
Non-local entanglement at a distance. So it kind of goes like this. If Einstein is correct, then experiments that are recording these effects should correlate with an inequality. They don't behave at a distance instantaneously or faster than the speed of light. Now, David Bohm came up with a theory, implicative order.
Physicist David Bohm proposed a theory called the implicate order. This is the idea that the entire universe operates within one continuous, interconnected field. Bohm theorized a hidden physical wave that travels infinitely faster than the speed of light, constantly linking all distant particles together. Bohm later held dialogues with Leroy Littlebear, exploring how this cutting-edge physics mirrors the ancient indigenous scholarship of the Blackfeet Nation regarding universal interconnectedness. Modern quantum mechanics is providing a mathematical vocabulary for a truth that ancient cultures already utilized.
So what I want to do is look at this quantum non-local entanglement as a phenomenon. Now, the controversy in science is that we should not ever bring spirituality into this.
We can apply this quantum framework to religious history. This means looking back to the era before biblical accounts were curated and rewritten by powerful institutional figures aiming to secure their rule. Ancient Gnostic texts and historical accounts detailed the lost 18 years of Jesus, a period absent from the canonical Bible, where he studied ancient traditions abroad. These historical records claim he traveled to Samaria, studied with yogis in India, and sought enlightenment in Tibet and Egypt. Miracles like walking on water or levitation represent a conscious attunement to the interconnected quantum field.
Leroy Little Bear held that everything is interconnected. And that's because, as David Bohm would put it, we're in one field of the universe. I want to tie this in to both understanding Jesus and God and the Holy Spirit and Gurudev Shichabhanu. As you know, in the book I wrote, and this is a sequel, is 14 days, and I'm on my second day talking to you now as I'm jogging next to water, that history has been rewritten by King James to appropriate and reinforce parts of the Bible, omit and delete other parts that would affect his rule as a king. And the same thing happened in the Roman period after Christ, when the Gnostics were active, and before anything was written down. In fact, it was several centuries before the word Catholic was created. And I grew up Catholic, as you remember. Went to Catholic school, enculturated, etc.
Demonstrating skills developed through ancient meditation practices. These abilities appear in documentation across different faiths, demonstrated by yogis and later saints who utilized intense focus and powerful emotional frequencies. This redefines the divine as a universal source of interconnected energy, a field of love accessible to any individual who can resonate with its frequency. Statistics show that 60% of people worldwide have experienced extrasensory perception. These events, ranging from ESP to profound serendipity, suggest that humans frequently interact with the non-local entanglement seen at the particle level.
That comes through in my approach to quantum storytelling, this quantum non-local healing at a distance. Let me give you an example. Before there were Zoom rooms, so this is some time ago, and we relied on email. We might be able to Skype at a cost or something, but in this instance, a very good friend of mine had a brain tumor, and she asked me for healing. Yeah. Okay, so I did the things I was trained to do and meditated, got in touch with the quantum field, the interconnectedness of all things and all entities in the universe, and gave her a reading of the following. There is a blanket in your closet, and it's got kind of different colors and stripes, and it's more of an indigenous blanket than something that you would buy in in a big store, big lot store. So I want you to find that blanket and wrap yourself in it. The second thing I said, in the community you live in are swans in a pond. Now, I've been to England before and I knew there were swans, but that's what came up for me. In fact, in an email back to me, she challenged me, David, swans, really? I wrote back in an email. And she's in England and I'm in New Mexico.
Take a specific case of distance healing. A practitioner in New Mexico focused on a patient thousands of miles away in England. Without prior knowledge, the practitioner sensed specific environmental details, an indigenous striped blanket in a closet, and swans in a local pond.
Now, I did not heal her brain tumor, make it shrink or something like that. It was about compassion and care.
Interaction functioned as a non-local transfer of quantum data, providing the patient with compassion and emotional clarity that assisted her transition to death. Accessing this field requires a coherent alignment of the body's 7 energy centers. This alignment silences the mental static of fear and ego, allowing the practitioner to tune into the broader quantum matrix. Intuitive connections are the predictable results of aligning your internal frequency with the external quantum matrix.
So we are 58 to 60% water, depending on our age, gender, etc.
Look at your immediate physical reality. Human beings are primarily composed of water, making our biology highly responsive to the Earth's fundamental elemental frequencies. We completely ignore the massive cosmic movement we are part of. The Earth is rapidly rotating while hurtling thousands of miles per hour through space. Even when external senses fail, like losing sight of a mountain path in pitch dark, invisible quantum waves continuously connect your biology to the environment. Accessing this deeper, interconnected reality requires stripping away psychological barriers. You have to drop fear, self-doubt, and the protective egoic shell. Science and spirituality are 2 distinct languages describing the exact same interconnected universe.
So it turns out that the Gnostic account of Jesus, that we're not mere creatures of the material world. We're in the world, the material world, space-time mattering, but we're not of that world universe. And you have a different opinion, and thank you for that. So I hope you enjoyed this. If I said anything that offended you or contrary to what you want to believe now, just ignore it.